Hey guys, and welcome to the J&K show. This is our Tuesday edition. We have to cover the Monday Night Football games because the NFL decided we have to have two, and we're going to have two again. But hey, they were actually fairly entertaining. We're going to cover that,
Yes.
and we're also going to go quickly through who we think our top five is for this week's Week 6 power rankings. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
start first with Bills at Falcons. Damn, we both
Mm-hmm.
did pretty bad on Monday Night Football this week. That one
Yeah,
went
we both
different.
over. Yeah, that was a unexpected game, really.
I put on here Falcons peck the Bills into submission. They pecked them.
Ouch.
They pecked
You need
them.
to work on that headline stuff.
I'm working on it. It's in the lab.
We're still fresh, bud. Don't worry about it. It's all right. But no, you're definitely right. I figured after getting beat by New England at home on
Mhm.
Sunday night, the Buffalo Bills would maybe, hopefully, be a little bit more focused in and maybe come out a little bit sharper, but that didn't happen. I'm thinking maybe New England exposed something and
True, maybe.
Atlanta's defense came back
Yeah.
and they were acting like they were earlier in the year. So kudos to them. I mean, they were firing on both sides of the ball last night. Give Atlanta a lot of credit.
Yeah. How about the Falcons peck them apart?
That works a little bit better.
That's a little bit
Yeah,
better.
a little bit.
See. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Or you could say
Josh,
they Falcon destroyed them.
I like mine better.
I'll
Anyway,
see you all later.
Josh Allen, he was harassed the whole game. This is kind of what we saw from weeks ago. We were saying it here that Atlanta looks like they have a pass rush. It hasn't always been consistent, but we've seen it a few times, and it can be downright hellacious of a pass
Yeah.
rush. There was a few
Yeah.
times on it was a 4th and 2, just a free ass blitzer, man. They couldn't pick up nobody. There was sending so many exotic looks and blitzes. They looked a lot how the Colts have done with their bring a lot of guys up to the line of scrimmage, send random amounts of guys from all different angles, and
Mm.
yeah, they just kept blowing everything up. It seems like the Bills had no answer for their attack on their defensive side.
Yeah, none. It looked like that was a Raheem Morris defense right there.
Hell yeah.
So he's finally, it looks like he's got his guys, his players, his scheme fully cemented down there right now. It looks like
Mhm.
they're all on the same page. And that was a hell of a performance last night cuz Buffalo, going back to what you said last week, they have a lot of 2 and 3 guys, but they really don't have a clear number 1. You could probably look and label Shakir their number 1,
Yeah.
but on any other team he's a 2 or a 3. So I think they need to either try to get one of those guys more involved or try to put a little bit more of an emphasis on one of their guys cuz they need a clear-cut one for that to work. When they had Diggs, everything was great,
Maybe
so I
they miss Kincaid a little bit because they kind of
yeah,
love their tight ends and keep them
yeah.
involved. Maybe that played a little bit of a factor that they only really had Knox. I don't know.
You can look at that and say Kincaid, he's a dog out there. So you can absolutely say that they missed him and his presence was definitely missed. But still, I mean, that doesn't take away the fact that they need somebody else. They have to have a clear cut one. Atlanta, I mean, they bottled up James Cook all night long, and he
He
couldn't
still
do
had a good
hardly
stat
nothing.
line. He did have a good
But
stat
I
line.
mean,
It was like
it was just not
wasn't
what
it
we're
like
used to seeing.
no, but it
He
was
didn't
like
have anything breaking off or anything
six,
like that.
16 for 90. It was right in that area. It was not a bad performance, but to his
No,
standard, it was a little bit lackluster.
yeah, but he didn't have near the receptions that he would normally have. He wasn't involved
Yeah,
in the pass game really at all. That was, I mean, really nobody was involved in the pass game.
yeah.
It just seemed like they were just so lethargic out there. They just had things were just going unbills like out there. So
If you would have
kudos to Atlanta though.
if you'd have told me Atlanta would have doubled them in yardage, I would have been like, I'm not sure
Hmm.
how that would happen because I'm over here going to be thinking, well, Buffalo's going to have like 350, so I don't know how Atlanta would have 700. I'd
Yeah,
be like really
that's crazy.
confused.
Yeah,
But
they doubled them up with just Bijan and London, man. I mean, those two, holy shit, were they
yeah,
possessed?
Bijan had as many yards as the entire Buffalo Bills. He was outstanding. He had a 80-yard
Yeah.
run for a touchdown. I can't even believe the stat. London was the only Falcon receiver to catch a pass. They threw him to Bijan, even Algier, Kyle Pitts. London is the only receiver to catch a single pass. Mooney, Ray McLeod, not a single guy, not even a target. There was a guy named Washington that got a target, but I was so unsure of who he was. I was like, I guess he could be a receiver, but I really don't know.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. I
No,
cannot
that's
believe that Penix was able to target his number one wideout for 160 plus yards, get him like 12, 13 targets, throw to no other receiver and just the rest of his utility players. And it works so beautifully.
yeah.
How is Penix able to be so methodical? Like, we've seen him struggle, but his ceiling is pretty high at times, I think.
Yeah. He didn't do anything that kind of made you think that he was MVP level or anything last night, but
Consistent.
he had 20 completions. 16 of those were to Robinson and London.
Yeah.
He had 250 yards, and 220 of them almost were to Robinson and London.
Yeah.
So it's like,
he fed his
ew,
beasts.
it's disgusting. It's disgusting to think about that all of his passing yards were contributed to 3 people.
Yeah. And Buffalo
it's just not cool. And they couldn't stop it. You're right. It's just like, if you know what's going on, I think by halftime it's like you got to know that London and Robinson are going to be the ones who are being targeted right now. So do what you can to cover them up and make them the focal point, but it's like they couldn't do anything to stop it.
I mean, where was the DJ Khaled montage where it's like another one? Like, they should have just started playing that during the game because it just got so repetitive. It's like, how can you guys not stop the same thing over and over? They're giving the ball to Bijan and they're giving the ball to Drake London. Between the two of them, you're right. They had like 5% of all touches. Like, what are we talking about here? How is that ridiculous. Possible?
Yeah, how it worked. I mean, it's so pedestrian looking. And it's like, how does this work in the most professional of leagues?
You know
how do you get away with it?
No turnovers either. Elijah Moore, Josh Allen, they had 3 turnovers, I believe, between the two of them. Josh Allen had 2 interceptions, and Elijah dropped the ball on the one handoff, which most of the commentators, they were like, they didn't even like that call to begin with.
Yeah.
It was just one of those games where they were
do something like that.
They were just out of sync. They were totally out of sync.
Yeah. Old McDermott, he was, I don't know if it's the glasses or what, but man, everybody seemed to be off last night, at least for Buffalo. But I mean, everything that Atlanta did worked. So it was just one of those games.
I have a little song for McDermott, and it goes like this. It goes, Old McDermott had a job, E-I-E-I-go. I feel like he is on his way out. He can't fail with this team. There's just so much potential, and you only get so many windows of opportunity. And it's like what we had been saying about other teams where if you don't work out with the quarterback, you're going to have to fire the coach first. Well, what happens when it does work out with the quarterback? You're going to fire the coach first.
Yeah.
Like, he better get it figured out.
I don't know if that'll be the answer, but I mean, you're right. How many opportunities does he have to have with Allen at an MVP level? And the defense is, I think every year the defense is getting just a little bit worse every single year.
Yeah.
And they're falling off, like, that their corners are getting old, front line's getting old, Ed Oliver's getting up there, so they're going to need to I think they're going to be a team to watch for before the trade deadline. They're going to have to make some moves, I think, at least try to get a top available wide receiver. Maybe they can make a trade for A.J. Brown or something like that. You know what I mean? Ooh. Maybe somebody like him could come in and maybe reshape that team and give them a clear one.
I had somebody tell me today that they needed a clear one, but I like how much maturation Josh Allen showed as soon as Diggs left. It practically fixed his turnover problem from last season, and he became an MVP. He was a high turnover guy, and obviously last night they had high turnovers, but that's like an outlier from what we've seen recently. I don't want to see him get a number 1 receiver again, and then he gets back to, well, I got to feed this guy 10 or 12, and he gets into throwing some numbers shots that he shouldn't really take. because I think now he uses the whole field and he gets it to the numbers, he gets it to the middle, and he takes the check down. And I worry that if you get a big name, or dare I say diva,
Mm-hmm.
that might mess it up. You'd probably do good for a moment, but it would eventually become a problem again, I feel.
Yeah. But I think he's really mature now. Josh Allen is.
He's a married man
But I mean, it's like you kind of see the trouble that they can get into at times when it's just not working out.
when they
And
don't
he
have
can
that
try
guy.
to do too much. Like on that fourth down, what the hell was that flip? That's not something that he would normally do. I mean, you can just throw it regular and they got a completion and a first down.
Yeah.
So why is he seems like he's trying to do too much. But if you can give him a big body to match, Keon Coleman's not a little guy. Like
No, he's actually a big guy.
he should be able to be one of those guys that you can target in the red zone and downfield, and they
Yeah.
just haven't been doing that to for whatever reason. I don't know. He's just not working out. But it could be one of those scenarios where, hey, if you can bring in another big body and put them on the other side, maybe that'll free him up to do a little bit more because maybe it's a Juju AB kind of thing where you're just meant to be a second option.
Hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of guys who've made careers on being the number two guy. But maybe that's what they need. I think if they can go get a big guy for the outside of on the opposite side of the field, then maybe it will open up. Now you do have to worry about the diva mentality of the guy coming in, whoever they were to bring in. But as long as you can get with them on the same page, you just meet them halfway. Just say, just meet me halfway. Just do what you need to do. I will find you. I'm an MVP quarterback. I'm Josh fucking Allen. Trust me, and I will find you when I can.
Yeah. I mean, not to dog on Shakir, but he's kind of more of a Tyler Lockett type, whereas Keon Coleman's probably supposed to be DK Metcalf. He's
Yeah.
supposed to become the big, strong possession guy that's like kind of at times a little unstoppable, or like you said, AJ Brown. He's supposed to turn into that kind of guy, or
Mm-hmm.
AJ Green, right? He's supposed to have this
Yeah.
tall, linky body to him that you can't really stop.
Yeah.
And he's still young, and I think people were
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they were so stuck on him, like, wow, he's so lightning in a bottle. He takes time sometimes. I know that Jamar Chase and Nabuka and these guys, they just fly off the handle immediately, but that's not the growth for every receiver. I still think Keon
Yeah.
Coleman is going to be their one. So I guess from that point, I'm just like, I don't think they need one. I think they just need another one that's different. I feel like
Yeah.
maybe with Shakir and Coleman, maybe Palmer and those other guys, maybe they just need another one that's more veteran esque. Maybe like if
Mm-hmm.
they had like a Keenan Allen, they would be better. Like they need a guy like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that wouldn't be terrible. But I mean, it would be another example of another kind of second option. I just
Right.
do you want somebody who's going to make the defense, yeah, to make the defense prepare for you. You know, you're going to make them bring a little bit of coverage their way. If they're not afraid of somebody at least on one side, then you're not going to free anybody up to do any damage. And Josh's accuracy has gotten so much better.
Yeah.
He can fit the ball in tighter windows now, but still, I think that's the one thing that they need to do, and maybe go after a corner or a safety or something like that to
Mhm.
put at least a little bit of youth in that position as well.
Yeah, I think they need some defense help. They honestly would do better with a Crosby or some other defender that could be available. They need a defensive
Yeah,
guy to kind of change the mentality. I would
yeah,
rather see them get a Jacoby Myers at receiver than an AJ Brown if I'm a Buffalo Bill fan, because I want a guy that's a serviceable one ish that I feel like is low maintenance that he can buy in. And AJ Brown is showing you that it's a little difficult for him to buy in, and he's a Super Bowl champion.
hmm
So it's a little nerve wracking. I don't know. I'd be uncertain if I was getting an AJ Brown. I would be excited,
yeah,
but also very hesitant
yeah,
to what could happen.
yeah. You'll be definitely excited, but I mean, you would only have to commit for the rest of this season. So it's like, okay, what can we get out of you for 10 games? What can
Yeah.
we do? Squeeze what juice you can. And if it works out and he's a great fit and he's a good teammate, it's like, all right, well, we'll sign you to a 2-year deal in the off season. and we'll keep going and we'll see what we can do. And if it becomes an issue, if they do go and they do maybe get that elusive title, then it's like, all right, it was well worth it.
Yeah.
But if it becomes an issue, it's like, all right, well, we're not paying him past February anyway, so I think we're good. So I don't think it's going to hurt them to at least kick the tires on him if he's available. So, but to bring in somebody like a Jacoby Myers, it wouldn't be necessarily a bad move, but I just like he's not that threat. You know what I mean?
Sexy.
So it's not sexy, no, but
I get it.
it's not. I'm a Jacoby Myers kind of guy. I like him. He's a good receiver, but
yes,
I just don't know if he would fit that scheme. Like you want some the way Buffalo, they like to try to push the ball deep when they can.
Yeah.
And AJ Brown runs a deep post and a deep corner better than a lot of other guys in the league. So that's just what I personally think. I think that's the move that they should go after.
Yeah. Speaking of young receivers, going back to London, the drive before the half, he was so damn close to getting that touchdown, which really would have stretched this game out. And like that's kind of hard to believe that they really were inches away from a whole nother 7 on the board. Really damn close. And that Buffalo, I thought, oh wow, they're going to get back in this game. Like Buffalo's going to fix it, but they really didn't fix anything in the second half. It was really surprising.
Yeah, usually they're good at adjustments, but
Yeah.
oh my God. Yeah, it's just, like I said, it's an uncharacteristic kind of game from Buffalo last night. Maybe it's because they need to go back to their original uniforms because this is the second game in a row where they wore an alternate and they did not look good.
Hey,
So
you're going to start getting that Kirk Cousins mantra. It's like, wow, the night game isn't working for us right now.
Yeah, the primetime shit. I mean, it worked week 1, but outside of that, I mean, even they even struggled against Baltimore. They had to come back big for that.
They shouldn't have won game 1. That they really were very fortunate, right?
Yeah, you can make that argument for sure. Yeah.
Moving on to the next game, Chicago at Washington. My goodness, I put on here Chicago stole that one. That's
did.
2 now that Chicago has stolen when they look like they are beat.
But hey, let's not lose track here. Washington stole from them first last year.
Yes.
So they just stole it back. They got their payback.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy for Jake Moody. I think it's good to see him have something nice happen to him for once.
Your Wolverine heart.
I am, dude. I can't help it. Whenever I get anybody from there who is part of a special group of guys, I like to root for him in the league. But he was in a tough spot in San Fran anyway. I mean, who drafts a kicker in the 3rd round? So he's already like, oh, shit. He's got a lot of pressure on him.
It was a little
he missed, but he did miss quite a few kicks, when he was there. So
and the ball was not really coming off his foot very good on some, but it was very rainy and wet, and I think that attributes to it and a little bit of nerves. But hey, he made it what he needed when he needed, and they got the dub. Yep. And honestly, that's a nice little debut for a guy to kind of, okay, this is my new team now. For right now, this is my team.
At least for now, yeah. Maybe Santos gets healthy. Maybe he gets pushed back, but it was good to see, it's a good story at least. He gets to come back and he gets to win the game. He gets carried off the field, hey, it's awesome, And Chicago, finally something good happens to them, and they look decent. And maybe this game last year when Washington beat them in the last second, it kind of sunk the rest of their season. They went on that down slope.
Was it
this year?
Was it 8 or 10 losses in a row?
I think it was 8 straight after that.
8 losses. That was definitely a big old piggy off their back from last night.
Yeah.
And it really didn't mean as much, but for that situation, it did probably mean more. Like it helps.
Yeah, that had to make him feel really, really good. So, and Ben Johnson, I'm sure he felt really good. Caleb Williams didn't really woo you that much, but he did have another pretty solid game. He didn't turn the ball over. So, hey, he looked a lot better. The running game got going. That looked really good. Chicago got that going finally. Swift had a monster game. So, that was good to see, and maybe they can build on it.
He was most of their offense. I mean, it was one of those games where he had most of their stuff. Like,
Yep.
Got it going.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be. I mean, he should be their offense, and that's what they should run through him.
Yeah.
And take that pressure off of Caleb Williams, and then he doesn't feel the need to go out and do dumb shit, which turns the ball over and make crucial mistakes on 3rd and long or 4th and long or whatever.
Yeah. They should probably be
So
pushing at least 25 total touches to him since he's such a good
yeah,
receiver.
yeah,
To really
absolutely.
limit Caleb's, maybe he then only has to throw about 25 passes. And I think he finished in the 30s in passing as far as attempts, I believe. I think it
He
was
was right at 30. Yeah,
right at 30. So
29,
that's not
30.
bad. Not bad at all. For it to
No.
be rainy, he didn't turn the ball over. I was impressed. They started off 13-0. I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
the Commanders, they did show some grit. The
Mm.
McCroskey fumble early definitely hurt. It hadn't even really started raining yet, so it's like, fuck, like, don't be
Yeah.
fumbling the ball. Uh, what was the Matt Gay doink was the loudest doink I
Oh,
have
I
ever
thought a I
heard.
thought a bomb went off in the stadium. I was like, "Oh,
Like,
dude, what the?"
God,
Like they are in Washington, so I wouldn't be surprised. But
cancel.
I was, I was like, "Holy hell!" That might have been that. That kind of reminded me, and I'm aging myself a little bit here, but it reminded me back in '04 when the Red Sox were playing the Yankees in the ALCS, and dude, I think it was Johnny Damon or maybe it was David Ortiz hit a home run off the foul pole, and that's all you heard was boom. So all right, we'll see you tomorrow.
The Daniels 3rd and 14 was awesome late. I thought, damn, they're gonna seal this game. Like they're gonna run the clock out. They're not gonna get the stop. 2 plays
Yeah,
later, they fumble the handoff, and I'm like,
you hate
no
that for him.
way.
Yeah,
And
didn't get a
like
clean handle on it.
he had
You
it for a
know.
second, but when he moved his hand, that water just you just saw it as he's moving. And it's like shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he just like smiled, like it was one of those, like, he cares about football, don't get me wrong, but he
Mm-hmm.
almost had to laugh like, damn, like that fucking sucks. Like he didn't even
Yeah.
know like
Hey,
how to.
divine intervention, man. Divine intervention. It was just
He's
one of
like,
those. It was meant to happen that way, and you can't explain it. Sometimes you just got to laugh at it, and it's like, well, maybe
tell
this is just
me
the way
that
it's
did
got to
not
go.
just happen. Tell me that
Yeah.
did not.
Tell me you didn't just say that.
Outside of that, there wasn't a lot else going on. DJ Moore checked into the hospital, undisclosed illness or undisclosed.
Mm.
No one really knows what was going on. People are
Hmm.
still, I think Schefter and them are still working on trying to figure out. But yeah, he checked in DC, I believe, in Washington, and no
Oh
one
wow.
really knows. He didn't leave the game for any reason, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, we may have to follow that. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so
Crazy.
not sure
But what
what.
about kind of could go back to something positive again?
Okay,
Luke McCaffrey, man,
he's Bud.
he is an exciting white, is he not? I mean, he only had one catch, but it was a bomb for a touchdown, and it's like, whoa.
I feel like in a different world, under different circumstances, he could propel himself into almost a Cooper Cup kind of role. I think his ability
Mhm.
is starting to show itself. I don't know if
Yeah.
he'll ever get that level of an opportunity, but for Washington, it looks like you can trust him. He needs to be your third receiver. You need
Yeah,
to, when healthy, have McLaurin, Debo, and McCaffrey out there. I think that looks really nice.
hmm
Detroit has a guy just like that in Isaac Tesla. They
hmm
can't get him on the field because they're so damn deep everywhere. But there's some guys that when you see them touch the ball, one hand, two hands, you're just like, that dude's different. He's a little different
He's
than your
different.
average guy. He just
Yeah. That whole McCaffrey family tree, man, I'm telling you, it's just there's some about it. There's damn good genes there.
I think in NFL we can welcome nepotism because in the sport of the NFL, I feel like you're about 80% likely to have talent like the person. Like I know it hasn't
Yeah.
translated in basketball and other sports as well at times, but for the NFL, there is some lineages of families that have all been good, and the Watts
hmm
and the I'm trying to think of the corner. you told me not to name the running back. The Barbers. Like, there are lineages, the Mannings. Like, there's not a huge drop off. They both, the three, the guys, they end up good football players. In the NFL, yes, nepotism to some degree, it is okay because, they probably got something. They just do.
Oh yeah, yeah. But he's becoming an exciting player to watch. I mean, he's also the punt returner.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he can do. He's doing things with every time he touches the ball. He's a threat.
He's wide
so
open.
You've got to absolutely find a way to get him on the field. Even when McLaurin comes back, you got to. I think you're right. I think it needs to be McLaurin, Debo, and McCaffrey when everybody's at 100%. Because I mean, he's going to do kind of like Adam Thielen things.
Yeah.
And you got your two dominant guys, and then Adam Thielen can be your slot guy, do the dirty work because he can break off a 3-yard slant for a touchdown. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and they need to run probably more spread with a tight end type vibe on occasion because they do like Ertz and they do a good job with him. But for their running back situation, they probably aren't going to pro style and stack the offense on any big body scenarios all that often. So yeah, you need to make sure that 75% of the game, you are running at least 3 wide, if not 4, and spreading that ball around. Because for Jaden Daniels, that opens up his legs to run and get something a little extra too. So yeah, you need to go damn near full on college spread offense and let him cook. You're going to live and die with the consequences of that in the NFL. But they're going to be exciting, and they have a lot of guys that can make plays for them. So they take a loss here, but it's still bright future and everything. They got a good set going.
Still early. Yeah, it's still early. They can still do a lot of damage. And they got guys that should be getting healthy soon.
Yep. All right. Well, that covers the Monday night. So moving on, we're going to do our top 5 power rankings. Now, things are starting to change. You're starting to see top teams lose, and it's starting to really muddy the waters of who do we think our top 5 are. All I can really say is neither one of us will have Denver in there. We don't care that they beat the Jets in London. No, not even a little.
That was so sad.
So, Jay, you want to start us off? Who do you have at number 5?
Yeah, number 5, they lost in a harsh kind of way Sunday, but I'm going to keep the Lions at 5.
Okay.
I still believe, they had let's just say circumstances.
Yeah.
Sunday, they were playing more than Kansas City.
Yeah.
Personally, what I think. But that offense is still one of the most potent, if not the most potent offense in the league. And their defense, again, they're taking key injuries at key spots, but they keep filling in, and they keep doing a pretty good job. It could have been a lot worse than what it was. They could have given up more than 30 on Sunday. Mm-hmm. But I still think that they're definitely one of the top 5 teams to beat.
I do not have them at 5. At 5, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I feel as though they are looking really good. I have not had them in my top 5 yet. I still have some questions if the running game will be consistent. I have questions if Rodgers will be able to make the plays, or if his age or his mobility will cost them a little. So I have some questions still. But they're playing about as good as anyone else in the NFL. I do hold the bye against them to a degree because right now the teams that have had to play 6, they've played a hard schedule possibly in some ways. And so Pitt getting that week off, that could have been a time where they would have lost. So I'm going to say, you know what, you are good, but I'm going to put them at 5.
Yep. Not a bad call. I actually put them at 4 on my list.
Okay.
So to kind of transition into that. And just because, I don't have them any higher than that for pretty much the same reason you did. The run game isn't really consistent, but Rodgers is playing really well. He's starting to get that rapport with Metcalf. Yeah. They look like they're playing pretty well together, but they're not doing anything to woo you, but it's just enough. They're doing just enough on offense. The defense is keeping the other team pretty well held in check, which doesn't mean that, it's like we don't have to go out and score 30 points just to win the game. So if the Steelers are putting up 23, 24 points, that's a pretty good odds in their favor that they're probably going to win the game. With their defense is playing as good as they are now. Beginning of the year is a different story, but this seems like they've gelled quite a bit and they're starting to get everything put together now. So Tomlin's got them playing good.
Yeah, I agree. And Pitt looks like one of the teams. There's only a few teams right now. They already look prepared to win games ugly, and that matters for later on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm like, they feel like maybe they're not going to leave my top 5, but you never know. At number 4, I have our boys, the Indianapolis Colts, because as good as I know that we've played, and there's a lot of reasons to put them higher, the schedule has been soft enough that I'm like, hey, I know we've whooped them, but we are still feeling a little early into our season. And I just need to see a little more from people. If our secondary is going to be thin, then that could pose problems against other teams. And how long will our secondary be a little thinner? I think we're going to be okay long term. We have the sole lead in the AFC South now. We're 5-1, but the Arizona game showed you some signs that's like the middle of the pack are closer to us when we're having some issues, when we have some injuries. The middle of the pack are closer to us than we think. And Arizona is more of a middle team. So I'm going to acknowledge that for what it is as a recency bias. Statistically should be higher, but I put my Colts at 4.
That's solid, bud.
Now,
good for you. I'm proud of you.
At number 3, I put the Lions because I'm not going to back off of what happened. No. I obviously believe that the Lions are a better football team than the Chiefs, but it is any given Sunday. And the Chiefs may have very well won that game regardless of calls. All they would have done is help the Lions. The Lions would still have to make the plays to win. So
they did seem out of sync as well. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not going to sit there and say that they won solely because of the questionable calls that they got.
No,
but it's not a hurt. And I would appreciate if there's at least one honest Chiefs fan out there that can look at things and say, you know what? I'm not gonna disagree. We do get some questionable calls from time to time. I just want them to be honest instead of just so emotional and just pour it out like, "Oh, you guys are just haters because you wish your team was the Chiefs." No, if the Colts were to get some calls like that, I would genuinely be like, "This is questionable. This can't keep happening."
We are typically hold everyone accountable, and we are typically like, okay, hey, that call. Like, was there a hold on McBride? There was. At the time of the throw, it might have been a second after, and I just felt like his body language made the call ruin. I think all he had to do was play it a little better, and they would have got the call. I feel like he almost just did himself a detriment, babe, the way his flop looked. If you look, he went so vertical and so not trying to catch it. I'm like, you really just kind of screwed yourself. All you had to do is really try to catch the ball, really dive one-handed, and he might have got that call, but he made it look so floppy. So I agree that we did hold to a little of a degree. And if it had been called, that would have been unfortunate. I kind of thought it was about to be called. So, like, I get it. But his flop was so egregious that I'm like, you know what? You kind of cost yourself, dude. Like, I learned from that. Like, watch it on tape and see how you look. That's my take from that. Like,
I'll give him credit though. 'Cause he's not one of those players who's going to look to draw a flag and he's not going to sit there and flop to try to get it.
Yeah.
He played through the contact perfectly.
Yes, but
then when
the
he
ball
turns,
was too far.
he got through it so clean. When he turned to find the ball, it was about 10 yards away, and he knew that he wasn't going to be able to catch it.
Yeah.
So
to be fair,
as soon as he gets out of that contact, then he takes a couple steps and then flops.
Yes.
Try to go after the ball. It's like you did a horrible sales job.
Jacoby missed that throw a little.
He missed it. Yeah, that was a bad ball.
He put it a little bit too far away. He got held up. The tight end, going in, the tight end, when he goes running in the end zone, before he goes out, he's going to make contact with the player. He's going to do it intentionally because he knows it could slow the guy down from catching him. So
Yeah.
you kind of have that built into your offense. You kind of have that kind of thought process. This 7 step out, he's about to run into that end zone. The timing of it, you have that kind of cooked in because you know he's going to bump into that guy before he takes off. So, yeah, I'm sorry. They just missed the throw mostly, and he really just didn't sell it. But again, we will
Mm-hmm.
call every call against the Colts that we get and don't get. That leverage, happens on every play for Denver. We were happy
Yeah.
they called it because they missed calls against us and they gave us PIs over and
Yeah.
over to just shove the touchdown up our ass.
Yeah.
We didn't say, oh, hey, this and that. We said that was a makeup call. They called
Mm-hmm.
leverage and it was a balancing act. So, like, if they don't have those PIs, then we probably are sitting here saying, you know what, we kind of got one on Denver. That was kind of a shitty call. That might be the only
Yeah.
leverage they call all
Yeah.
year in that moment. Like, we would be
Could
saying that.
be. Yep. And that's absolutely how we called it. Who do I have at number 3? You say moving forward?
Yes, go ahead. Well, you did that too. We both did that.
Yeah, we did. I have at 3. I have Seattle. Um,
Ooh,
they showed me quite a bit. Sam Darnold's hot hand continues. He is on fire, and he's making the Jets and the Panthers look idiotic at this point. The defense is also, I think, one of the most underrated groups out there. They had 6 sacks this last week, and man, they're holding people pretty damn good. And if Darnold and Njigba can keep having this kind of a connection with each other, it's going to be a hard one to stop, and they're going to put points up. And if their defense can keep you from scoring, I mean, hey, that's how the game works, right? So
how
they're
blessed
they're
is
playing it to
Darnold?
perfection.
Blessed is Darnold to now be going from Justin Jefferson to Smith and Jigba?
Yeah,
That's got to be
I'm
pretty
telling you,
nice.
that's the importance of having a clear cut one, you
True.
know. So if you don't have that, it can mean a lot. And if you do have that, you cherish it and you try to exploit it as much as you can. And Jigba, he seems to be winning almost every route he runs.
Okay. Yeah, I feel you on that one. I do.
Yep.
I like it. At number 2 for me, I have Philadelphia. I'm not
Ouch.
ready to call them out yet, and I know a lot of people are ready. But we were 4 weeks in at 4-0. We were talking about, my God, are they going to lose? Well, now they've lost 2. And
Mm-hmm.
I get it, but I'm not at 4-2. You can make the argument on record alone that they're the third best team in the league. They
Yeah.
are the champion from last season. The way they are built, the way they have the fortitude, what they're made of, the tush push. I'm not ready to put them out, and I really don't want to move them out of 2 yet. I need to see more. If this is going to linger and turn into a third loss either this week or next week or something, I might start moving them down or possibly out of my 5. But I'm not going to yet because it's okay for a team that good to have a slip up and still be one of the best in the league. So I'm not going to react too hastily just yet.
Yeah, I would have them probably right around 6, at least in my just outside sniffing
Yeah.
the top 5. But I get why you would have them at 2. But right now they look so out of sync, and they look so bad in the second half of both of those games that
Mhm.
they lost. It was just atrocious almost. So the complaint at the beginning of the year was like, okay, they looked pretty rough in the first half, but then the second half they turn it on, and they're able to adjust. And now it's like, okay, well, they look okay in the first half, but now they just look shitty in the
Yeah.
second half. Like they have no sort of rhythm whatsoever. And then you add in the AJ Brown stuff, and
Mhm.
Jalen's not being as decisive as he once was. It's like, is there trouble? Is there not? It's like there are question marks there.
Yeah, I get it. It's fair. For having flaws they finally found after a month of football and now they have to work on them.
Yeah.
I need to see just one more and that might give me more of an indication. So, short week on a in
Yep.
a division game, I'm like different circumstances tells me different information. So I need one more before I start to feel like I can tell if they're sliding or not. So, who's your number
Yep.
2?
Number 2, I have Indy.
Oh my.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about the Arizona game. That showed me that they're able to deal with adversity and and come through on the other side and actually deal with it and not lose themselves and not get too down or too up or
Mhm.
anything like that. They were able to power through it because, we're both Colts fans. We've
Mhm.
seen it for the last however long decade where they're playing really well, they're 3-1 or 4-2 or something like that.
Mhm.
And they have this game where they play down to the competition, and it's like, why is Billy Volek throwing for 350 yards on us? Why are these backup Charlie Whitehurst? Why is he having a 400-yard game? And then they just have just a letdown game every once in a while where they play down
Mhm.
and they let the other team just linger and linger and linger, and they just cannot stop it for whatever reason. They're not focused or
Mhm.
whatever. And it usually turns out to bite us in the ass and we lose that game.
Yeah.
But what I liked about it was we found a way to come from behind on our last drive and take the lead. And the
Yes.
defense, although they were giving up play after play, they found a way to get it done in the end. And
Mhm.
that's something the Manning Colts would do back in the day. They would give up some big plays, they would give up a lot of yards, but when it came down to, hey, we need a play, then we were able to, Mathis was able to get a sack fumble, or Freeney was able to get a sack fumble, or Gary Brackett would pick it off, or Bob Sanders would make a big hit, something like that. We're getting that now. But when your defensive captain makes kind of a bonehead play, it's kind of like this is one of those games where we're just not dialed in all the way. That's some stuff that he normally wouldn't do and our guys normally wouldn't do.
Mhm.
But the fact that they were able to fight through that adversity and still find a way to win, I really enjoyed watching that.
That was good. I mean, I guess if we talk about it in that respect, I guess when I'm hearing you say that, I feel like I can hear Denver Bronco fans telling us why they can struggle against the Jets in London or the Titans week 1 and stuff like that. I feel like I
Mm-hmm.
can hear them saying it's okay to have those struggles as you figure things out, and we
Yeah.
like the grit and the toughness in our defense, and it's like, I don't like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can look at it like, if you look at it like that, you still got to ask yourself. I mean, Denver has never really put anyone away in the third quarter
But they beat
this year.
Philly,
They
right? They were the
they
first to
did beat
show up.
Philly. They beat Philly, and that's like their one signature win.
Yes.
But every other game has been within one possession. And it's like, okay, they never really grabbed anybody by the throat. They should have leveled Tennessee. You can argue they should have beat us and the Chargers, but they were just letting them hang around. They were doing
Hmm.
uncharacteristic things
Yeah.
that would keep the other team in the game and gave them the chance to win and stick around. But what happened? They didn't find a way to win those games against us and the Chargers, but they did find a way to win against the Jets. And again, that's them playing down to the competition. Now for Indy, the game against the Cardinals, I'm going to say that's the first time this year that we played down. Against the Rams, it wasn't us playing down, it was just us making mistakes. We beat ourselves. It's not anything that,
Yeah.
happened bad or anything like that,
I
but
guess we were standing on that hill beating the drum that we are crushing the bad teams. So like when we didn't
mhm,
crush Arizona, that was like, and it was Jacoby Brissett instead of Kyler. I think that matters to a lot of people's perspective. For me, Denver, their argument they can make is we've beat Philly. Our two losses are to two last second field goals to the Chargers and the Colts, who have a combined 9-3 record.
mhm.
They're the
Yeah,
two of the
you can
best teams
argue
in the
that, but
league. So when you really just put it in a vacuum and you're just like, this is what they got. We've watched and we're studying it for a deeper reason, and this is why we feel like the Broncos aren't as good as they are ranked. But for anyone that's just putting it in a vacuum, yeah, that's why they would be ranked high, because they're using the same standard that you're speaking about with the Colts, which is when they played with their food, they were doing gritty things, and they found a way to overcome these games. And their only two
yeah.
losses or one loss is something so minuscule. And so I feel like for the Colts, that's why I put them at 4, because of that. Just, hey, let's just see what else we have, because the Arizona game, I guess, would give you a little bit of doubt. Like, okay, how will they perform? They can beat a good team They can beat the shit out of bad teams, but they played around with a mid tier. So like now that you see the mid tier, you kind of have to question how the mid tiers are going to go the rest of the year. When we play the 15th best team, how is that game going to go?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can say that, sure, but Denver's played with their food in every single game.
I know.
The Colts, I would argue, they only did that one time, and that was this last game.
Correct.
But a lot of people are selling Arizona short. They're not. They're not a 2-4 team, man. They're
I
two and
agree.
three or whatever they are.
I
They
agree.
should. Their defense especially. That's a solid group, man. They still got Will Johnson. They still got Buda Baker. They still got Calais Campbell in there. You know, they still got guys
Yeah.
who can play really good ball, and that's a good core group of dudes that they have on that side of the ball. Their offense needs a lot of work. I won't deny that or argue that, and we definitely gave up a lot of plays that we shouldn't. But
Yeah.
I would argue that's the first time that we kind of played down. And
Yeah.
I would say Denver has been playing down all year, and the only time that they played up was against Philly.
Yeah, I put Denver below us for sure, but yeah, that's why I put Indy at 4 because I'm like we're the better Denver. So let's wait and see where we go from there.
Absolutely. Yep.
So who do you have at number 1?
I think we both probably have the same number one team, and that's definitely going to be the Tampa Bay Bakers.
What?
He's doing it with seventh string receivers, man.
Yep.
They're
Come
doing it
on,
with a
man.
second string running back. They're doing it. He's doing it himself, and I mean, holy shit! It's gonna be a hard team to beat. It doesn't matter, and if they're 100% or if they got a couple guys missing, it's just not gonna matter. I mean, Tez Johnson and Cam Johnson, who in the fuck are they? Right? Where'd they come from? They look like Pro Bowlers, man.
Johnson
And
and
Baker's
Johnson,
able to
bro.
just
That's
thread it.
baby powder. That's
Oh yeah,
baby
it's
powder.
it's something for sure. I mean, that scares the living shit out of me. They have receivers set for the next 6 years,
This
and they're only going to get better.
something that you know when you have an MVP caliber quarterback is when he can show you how good your deepest receiver can be. Because you don't really say that about a lot of quarterbacks in the league. There's only a select few that you feel like, shit, who's this guy? They flash. And I just he's been doing that. And Mike Evans unfortunately has been injured, and Chris Godwin, and he's had to throw to guys that are unsung heroes. And Sterling Shepard has been the healthiest receiver, which is unbelievable that he finally developed enough calluses on his body to not get injured. Kudos to Sterling
Yeah, no
Shepard.
kidding.
He needs a little
Yeah.
third down vet to like kind of settle things down. It's his little Zay Jones kind of guy.
Hmm.
So kudos to Sterling and Tampa Bay. They're my one. And the defense, if it hums, it feels like they could be unbeatable. And I don't want to
Yeah.
say that because we were talking Philly, and right when we thought we were about to crown them, they started to drop shit, right?
Yeah.
But Baker is playing at a level that is it's just different. It's
Yeah.
just different. You can
It's
see it.
definitely a different feel. Yeah, he's got, as the kids would say, man, he's got some riz and he's got an aura about him.
Yeah.
It's just when you watch Baker play, it just seems like there's this white light around him. Anytime he's moving, he's got the ball. It's like he's gonna do something to get them in position to score or win the game. They're not out of it. They could be down 2 or 3 scores in the third quarter, and you're like, they're definitely not out of it. He can easily hit somebody on a long ass touchdown and put together a couple quick scores. And that team they just look scary, man. And it's only going to get worse for everybody else the healthier they get.
Yep, I agree. Well, that's it for the top 5. I think that's our show. You got anything else you got?
I got a surprise for you.
Okay.
A little bit of just some little tidbits of information. I'll test your knowledge a
Ooh.
little bit. We'll put the thinking cap on, and just some things that I've looked up and I've seen. It's like, you know what? I think that's interesting stuff. Let's see if old buddy knows his shit right now.
Okay.
So I will give you some flyers here.
Okay.
This person has the fastest run in the league right now this year at a whopping 22.3.
I think that Jonathan Taylor had it, but then I think somebody ran faster than him. Was it Jackson Dart?
No.
Damn it.
No, you actually had it right. It was Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
That's my dog.
The week 2, it was a 43-yard reception.
Hmm.
They clocked him at 22 mile an hour.
I can't even ride a bike that fast.
I can barely drive that fast, so it's okay. Just behind him at 22:34 was Jahmyr Gibbs.
Ooh.
Yeah, these Jonathan Taylor still lighting the field on fire.
Yeah, he's a
Absolutely. This player traveled the longest distance on a punt return touchdown. It was the longest distance on a single play so far this year. Who was that person?
I knew this at the time that it happened. It was in there, and now it's lost.
Yeah.
Punt return, Torrey Horton.
That would be Mr. Torrey Horton. That's a good job. 34.6 total yards traveled.
Crazy.
Wow.
Fun fact, because we like to hate on Kansas City, that is more yards than Mahomes ran sideways against Tampa Bay when they got the shit kicked out of them. It is more yards.
Yeah. Stat that.
Oh, no.
Okay, two more. Two more for you. This team's defense has allowed the fewest total yards so far this season at 782. What team is that?
I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You would be incredibly wrong. Not even close.
Not even close. Okay, give me one more. Give me one more. Hold on.
Not even close.
The lowest yards in the NFL. Best team in yards in the NFL. And it's
Don't be looking that up.
I'm not looking anything up. I'm looking at my power rankings, hoping something.
Oh, you're looking off to the side there, bro.
Oh man, it's not on there. It's not on there. Okay. Lowest yards. Houston was high up there.
Houston is number 3.
Yeah, lowest yards. Doing it dirty. Not them. Because it's a team that hasn't really been in that many shootouts. Is it Detroit?
No, Detroit is nowhere near the total either. That's only 782 total yards allowed, including last night. The Atlanta Falcons have allowed the fewest, well, I should say passing yards, sorry. Passing yards.
Why, though?
Well, no, it is total yards. Never mind. So it's okay. It's all right.
Who's the best that have had the bye, though? Because you have the rankings and you know who's been on bye. So would Houston be the best? Well, they just went on bye.
The best team so far without a bye is Buffalo.
No shit.
Right now. Okay. Yeah, they were at 1,087.
Okay, Buffalo.
But yeah.
All right.
Not bad. And last but not least, this team leads the league in total touchdowns scored, rushing and passing.
Total touchdowns.
What team would that be?
Wow. Would that be the Indianapolis Colts?
The Indianapolis Colts are second in total touchdowns. They are first in rushing touchdowns with 13.
Detroit.
But they are second to the Detroit Lions at 24 total touchdowns.
Ow!
So that's why I still have them in my top 10 or top 5. So, they're gonna put points up. It just doesn't matter who they're playing. They're gonna score points. And as a bonus question, this player has the fastest recorded sack at 2.
What was that guy's name? I remember the play. We talked about it here on the J&K show. Mm-hmm. What's that guy's name? Tennessee Titans. Mm-hmm. Defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm. He sacked C.J. Stroud.
Jonathan's.
No. You're on the right path, though. It starts with a J.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Do you remember his last name?
No.
That'd be Mr. Jeffrey Simmons.
Oh, God.
Week 4. Let's remember C.J. Stroud farted in the huddle, and it pissed everybody off. And they just, let Jeffrey Simmons through. Because, apparently C.J. Stroud had some chili the night before.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have that Houston chili.
All right. Well, but as an extra little teaser to the group, do we want to go ahead and manufacture the Week 6 Super Bowl picks? Do we want to go ahead and do that? Are way too early Super Bowl picks
You could say way too early. Yeah, I'm down with that.
something that we can look back at and see, how wrong we might have been? Because
Yeah,
I
you
think
can look at it that
I got
way.
who I would pick.
Yeah, I'm really, really torn from the AFC side.
Yes.
You know, the fan in me wants to say, Indy's got a real shot.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be too biased in my approach.
So we'll assume we both
But
won't pick the Colts just to make it more spicy, right?
yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
I'm really gonna have a hard time keeping Buffalo out. But again, my heart says Indy. My brain kind of says it's either gonna be Buffalo or God forbid Kansas City, because we know what they've done in the past and how they get the treatments and everything. But just for argument's sake, I will probably say from the AFC it'd probably be Buffalo, especially if they get it figured out and if they can make the right move before the trade deadline to kind of help themselves out a little bit. And then from my perspective, the NFC side, I really have a hard time keeping Tampa out of there because they've won in so many ways and they've won a lot of close games in which you need to be battle tested, especially when you go into the playoffs. So you know how to work through the tough times. We've been there before. We've seen
Mhm.
this. We know what to do.
Mhm.
So I would rather right now. I would say at this point, Buffalo, Tampa.
Timidly agree. Unfortunately, I would probably say that if we're going to get Tampa and that's going to be our darling, then we're probably going to get Kansas City as the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
the Super Bowl, I don't care what anyone says, they want a dynamic that will sell. And I unfortunately see too many chinks in Buffalo. We're too young and we were trying not to pick us. Like we're too a little new to being good. The Chargers, Denver. It's just for the Kansas City fans, it is still wide open for them to get the right momentum, the right calls, the right moments, and fucking fall their way into a Super Bowl opportunity again.
Yeah.
They aren't good enough. They're not better than at least three teams, I think, in the AFC. But they are in position to stumble themselves into a Super Bowl. So if we're getting Tampa, and I think that we will be getting Tampa, I think because of that we would get Kansas City. Otherwise, my original I would have said probably Buffalo, Philly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm just
I
man,
think
I'm
we're
just
gonna get
getting
Tampa now.
I am so sick and tired of the rematches and everything. We haven't had a pure matchup since the Bengals and the Rams played.
Exactly.
It's always been the same teams that have been in there the last, it's been like the same six teams every year. So I would like to see a little bit of parity. I want God, and I want Josh Allen to get his. He's somebody that you can root for. Would I love for the Colts and Daniel Jones to go? Absolutely. That's my darling
Yes.
pick. That's
Yes.
my heart pick.
Yes.
Do I think that the Colts are definitely contenders to get there? Absolutely. If we can stay there and we can get the 1 seed and we can get home field, then I think we're going to be tough to beat. So
Yep. I
it's all
agree.
about just staying the course and keep doing what they're doing. If we can go 5-1, every 6 games, I
Mhm.
would be happy.
That's what
We
I was
would,
just thinking. If we're ten
you
and
know,
two, we're looking like
hmm
we're in position for a one. Like we can go for a one. Like
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm definitely happy. You could look at it in the NFC side. It would definitely, if it's not Tampa, then I believe it's Detroit's year. I just hope that if we get Tampa, Detroit, I hope it's in the NFC Championship game because I don't want that. I don't want that in the divisional round. I don't want it in a
Yeah.
wild card round. I want that to be the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And who would have thought 3 or 4 years ago we would be begging for Jared Goff versus Baker Mayfield in an NFC Championship game?
Yeah, and I mean honestly, my third darling, I would have said Detroit, and then again they'd be Kansas City, right? And it just feels
Yeah,
like the Kansas City's the villain. And from what we just seen, if you're the NFL, you're like, This might be
Ooh.
something to build on for the end of the year, right? Like they would be
Yeah.
more than thrilled to have that be the matchup. So they had that
Mhm.
opportunity last year and it didn't quite work out.
Yeah, they
Eminem,
usually have that one game
we
in
could have had
in the regular season.
we could have had an M and Taylor Swift Super Bowl, bud.
Oh God, M would just chew her up and spit her out, man. Which I'm here for that, but it does seem like we get the eventual Super Bowl matchup during the regular season when you get to a game and it's either marred in controversy or it's like
Yeah.
I would love to see that game again. And it's like, all right, well, let's make it happen. Let's do
Yeah.
whatever we can do to influence it and make it happen again.
Hey, here I say that matchup would take Super Bowl 60 to new heights.
Shut up. Oh my God.
I
Terrible.
plugged it. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us on the Tuesday edition. We will see you again Friday. Until then, be easy.